universe is trying to seduce us all the time. If the universe wasn't trying to give us goodness, to give us pleasure, to help us be awake and alive, we'd have a tree. We wouldn't have beautiful beaches. We wouldn't have snow-capped mountains. Everything would look the same. There would be no variety. The universe is trying to teach us how to embrace that seductive energy, that attraction energy. People who are obsessed with the law of attraction but won't tap into their sacral, that's why it's not working.
Hello, prosperity seeker, and welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and I am so excited for the conversation that is about to unfold in this episode today. I have a really amazing guest that I'm so excited to introduce you to in just a minute, and you'll understand very shortly why I want to have this conversation with her and share her with you. Because as I have gone on my own journey from, bankruptcy to 232,000 and quantum leaping and that next level of success, one thing that I realized at the very beginning was that I was in so much push and so much struggle and so much hustle, and I would hit my goals. And by the time I hit my goals, all I felt was tired. And then I needed to double my goal for the next time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that took so much effort. And now I've got to double it. And over the years, I realized, holy cow, I really think that I'm like a man masquerading as a woman because I am just in so much pushing all the time. And I'm so tired of it. And I was so burned out all the time. And I think that a lot of ambitious, motivated, high achieving women feel that way as well, because that's really all that we've been taught. And so one of the reasons why I created the prosperity approach, success without struggle, was that as a woman, I thought, I'm designed differently from a man for a reason. And again, we're not man bashing anyone ever. I love men. I birthed 3 of my own. I'm married to one that I absolutely adore. So that isn't about that. But I'm like, why am I trying to do it like how men do it? Why am I trying to do it in so much masculine? I think that there's a better way for me to get those next levels of success without feeling like I'm clawing my way up the side of a cliff, naked in the dark and in a thunderstorm. And so I had to learn how to be feminine. I thought, okay, well, if I wear earrings while I go work out, then that means I'm feminine. And no, ladies, I was not being feminine at all with that. And so I wanted to bring on really an expert in feminine energy. She is an internationally renowned, award-winning keynote speaker. She's become one of my dearest friends and mastermind partners. And Laurel Huston, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here with us.
Thank you so much, Allyson. I am ecstatic to be here. This is one of my favorite topics. So thank you so much for graciously allowing me to come and just have this conversation with you and share this content and this experience with all of the people who are ready to hear it. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I'm so excited to share you with them because you're such a breath of fresh air in helping us learn how we can be more feminine, what it looks like to be in feminine energy versus masculine energy, how we use those two together. But then realizing we can be super successful. We can be really ambitious and driven as women and still do it in a different way and have enormous success. So let's talk about that. How do we be women? Laurel, how do we lead with the feminine?
So this is one of those things that it's like, I didn't realize how much I had to unlearn, because so many of us we have this opinion of what a woman should be coming from all different places. You have, oh, they need to be this and this and this, or, oh no, if you are that means you're weak or submissive. And so there are so many different places that people try to define a woman. But one of the things that I want to start out with saying is that feminine energy is the essence of embracing that you are a woman. It is being able to have acceptance and love and say, I am happy that I am this beautiful creature of creation, that I can take take chaos and turn it into order and beauty. And that honestly is the first step that so many women are missing, because like you said, we are masquerading with long hair and a bra and doing everything that and I fell into this. I have hired countless business coaches that were women that said, this is what works. And I went into hustle and I went into overwhelm and I went into just work harder. And I had to unlearn so much of what I was taught, because I was taught how to do it in a man's way. And so a big part of what it looks like to be feminine is to recognize first that you are allowed to do it different than a man, and it can still be successful. But will it look different? Absolutely. And another part of this is that it doesn't mean you're manipulative. That's another thing I get from so many women is they're like, well, I don't want to use my feminine power to manipulate. Then don't.
Right?
Then don't. That's like, you can be a scummy salesman, whether you're old, young, male, female. And if you're a scummy salesman because you're all about the sales and the money, and then you're a scummy salesman, you can be inviting. You can be someone who allows and receives people, money, and resources to come to you. And that doesn't mean you're manipulative. It means that you honor that you are in a place of receiving good things.
I love it.
That is a big part of what feminine energy does for us.
So let's go like to the basics of feminine energy and masculine energy, because I know with me and many people in my audience resonate with this as well. I'm like, okay, well, how does this translate into my life? Be more feminine. Okay, I'll put on earrings and makeup. Does that make me more feminine now? I'll wear heels. I don't know. So like, what does it look like? What does it look like being in feminine energy versus masculine energy? Let's start there and paint a picture of that.
Sure. Great question. So I'm actually just going to throw out some words to describe. So the very first thing that I want to clarify, I am not talking about stereotypical gender roles. I don't care who does your dishes. I don't care who cooks your meals. I don't care who mows your lawn and gets your oil changed. Like, those are things that we have placed stigma on, but that's not what masculine and feminine energy is. So masculine and feminine energy is something that we both have both of. And when it is imbalanced, then certain characteristics come through easily. So feminine energy is about order. It's about inviting. It's about being nurturing. It's about being in that flow where you get out of, I have to force things to go the way I want them to go. Feminine energy is never force. It is flow. It is intuition. It is allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be seen and find safety in that. It's about knowing what you want. Masculine energy is so beautiful for the male because it's all about the protective energy, the providing, the build big things, the being observant, the being very decisive, being caught up in adventure and freedom. Masculine energy thrives on freedom and adventure, but feminine energy thrives on passion, desire, and arousal. The things that make us feel alive, the things that make us feel awake and aware.
You just said a couple of trigger words right there. I know arousal is a trigger word. Probably desire is a bit of a trigger word as well. So let's talk about that. Like, what does that mean? The desire and the arousal that women really love to be in and create in, but what does that actually look like?
So because I know that you spend a lot of time in feminine energy, I can ask you this question and actually get an answer. Allyson, what is something you would love? What is something you want? What is something that just makes you feel so good?
Really, like 2 weeks in Maui, or my bubble bath in my big old soaking tub. Oh,
guess what? That's arousal.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
This is why. It's not, people automatically go into sexual arousal. You being able to fill You've been to Maui. The moment you mentioned it, your eyes lit up, your breath slowed down. It became very purposeful. You had this huge smile and joy and just an awareness of what life would feel like if you were in Maui. Because it is safe to feel. And so many women are numb and not awake. And so when I talk about being aroused and being passionate, I'm just talking about being aware, having that awareness of what temperature is it right now? What can I smell? What can I taste? When I eat my food, do I chew slow enough to actually enjoy it? Or do I gobble it down because I have 3 other things I'm doing? Arousal is just that you're awake, that you're alive, and that you're aware of things that are going on around you in a very positive way.
Oh, I talk about massive awareness with zero judgment to my clients all the time. And you making that connection that is arousal is so beautiful to me, because now it's not something that's quote dirty or something that we have to like hide from or any of that. It's positive awareness. I love it. I love it.
Well, and people who are trying to tap into their intuition, intuition can't happen if you're numb, because intuition is a feeling. It starts in the body and then it becomes a thought that you fixate on. And so when your heart says, go do this, and you follow that intuition, all of a sudden you have direction and you know what you're doing, and you have a new level of awareness and passion because you know what you're seeking. If you're numb, if I could grab a random woman off the street, Allyson, and ask her that exact same question, what do you want? I don't know. We can't even tell our partners where we want to go to dinner without getting in a nothing fight because we don't know what we want to eat. Because we're so numb, we're so shut down, we are so out of arousal, we're so out of passion, we're so out of desire. We don't know what we want. We don't know what makes us feel alive. And it's because we need that feeling of safety and security that puts us into masculine energy, that hustle, that I have to do more, because if I do less, then I am less. No, that's masculine. That's when a woman is in masculine energy. She thinks that her tasks are what give her worth. When a woman in feminine energy knows, me just being alive and able to create is what gives me worth.
Tell me about when we're in kind of this energy reversal. When we're women masquerading as men, or feminine, we're masquerading as feminine, but we're actually in masculine. How does that show up? What does that look like? I want us to be able to be like, I just was masculine right there. And not that we always ever and forever have to be feminine. It's about leading with the feminine and balancing the feminine and the masculine. But I think that there's some really strong symptoms and characteristics that come up when we're out of balance. So tell me about that.
Absolutely. And as I go through them, most of your listeners will go, oh crap. So women who are in masculine energy are controlling, they're pushy, they go into mother martyrdom. Oh, I do so much for everyone and no one appreciates what I do. They go into blame. They feel like they're stuck. They chase. They get fixated on how people are hurting them. They walk into a messy house and they scream things like, I am not a maid. Other people need to clean up too. Because everything is such a weight and such a burden. They try to fix everyone else, because if I can put all my time and attention on fixing you, then I don't have to put any time and attention on nurturing myself. So they spend a lot of time in judgment and pity with unexpressed expectations and unsatisfied longings. They want people to read their mind and just give them what they want, even though they don't even know what they want. That's why they want other people to give them what they want, because they're not awake enough in themselves to know what they want. So then they want other people to just give them stuff, but it wasn't the right thing. It didn't satisfy them in the way they wanted to be satisfied. But what this does is when you are around men, if you take all the masculine energy from them, all they're left with is their feminine. So they become very needy and whiny and defensive. And they go through these cycles of people pleaser, yes, dear, whatever you want, dear. And then they go into rebellion and resentment. They shut down. They say whatever a lot and they nitpick. And one of the reasons why men are going into nitpicking is because their masculine energy thrives on pleasing the feminine. So they want to get back to that. So they'll nitpick at you. They're trying to make you see flaws so that they can then say, but I can help you with that. See, I'm still valuable. I'm still needed. They're not actually nitpicking at you. They're trying to prove to you that they're still needed, that they're still valued. They're longing for connection. And I know it sounds messed up because you're like, then my husband needs to be nice to me.
Right. Stop being a child and be a man.
And let him load the dishwasher however he wants to load the dishwasher, and just say, thank you. That was one less thing that I had to do. And I appreciate and I genuinely receive the gift that you just gave me.
What do you think an overdeveloped sense of responsibility, like where does that fall? Because you had mentioned like when you're in too much masculine, then you're in that overwhelm and that burnout, but you're in blame. And I remember like my whole life, I've taken on other people's responsibilities, or like it's all my fault. Like any situation or any mess, I'm like, okay, what did I do? Like 100% responsibility and all of that. And so when I was in that really low place, there was some blame on other people, but it was mostly blaming myself. Lots of self-judgment.
So I said something that was key that many people may not have even picked up on. Masculine energy thrives on pleasing the feminine. I did not say men thrive on pleasing women. I said masculine energy thrives on pleasing feminine. So if a woman is in masculine energy, she will go into people pleasing if she is around feminine energy, whether it is in a man or in a woman. A perfect example of this, last time I flew, I'm only 5'3". So putting stuff in the overhead bins is kind of a chore for me because I don't pack light. I have not picked up my own suitcase in years because whether a man or a woman, taller, shorter, or the same size as me, is standing in front of me, if I enter that plane in feminine energy, willing to receive good, aware and awake of the beauty around me, inviting, I'm in feminine energy. And people always help me. They always lift my bags for me because masculine energy thrives on pleasing the feminine. Because feminine energy is it's what takes chaos and creates order. It's what creation energy requires, both the masculine and the feminine. But it's the feminine body and embodied feminine that takes that chaos. You have the little bit of masculine, you have a little bit of feminine, but it won't come together if there's not a feminine embodiment for it to come together in. So people who go into procrastination a lot, people pleasers and procrastinators, are women stuck in masculine energy. You can't finish something if you're stuck in masculine. You'll start it, but you won't finish it.
Now, I've heard that differently. That's really fascinating to me, that if you're in too much masculine, you'll procrastinate it. Tell me why.
The finite details make it, and it, part of when you are in feminine energy, it's about creating that order. It's about creating flow. And so when you're in masculine, you're going to push through the project. You're going to get it done. And then you'll go, I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. And if this is how much work it takes to duplicate this project, then I'm not going to finish this one because that means I have to start a new one. It's not actually about finishing the project. It's about, if I finish it, I have to put more effort into something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Do you think the feminine energy is passive? Is a passive energy?
I think that's a stereotype, but no, I do not. I think that feminine energy is very strong and has boundaries. And if you are able to say, yes, that is in alignment with my desires and my passion, then I invite it in. But that's where that little bit of masculine comes in. You don't ever want to be 100% feminine. So if you say, this is what I do and do not want, and someone tries to push on those boundaries, that's where you have that 20-30% masculine that comes in and says, no, I'm protective. And this is my boundary. This is my standard. This is what makes me feel alive. And that doesn't. So I'm going to have to pass. But that doesn't mean you're passive.
Mm-hmm.
Passing is not the same as passive. You
Right.
could pass on something, but that doesn't mean you're aloof or not paying attention to things. In fact, feminine energy makes you very aware of many things.
If we're going to lead with the feminine and then let the masculine serve the feminine, which is what it's designed to do, what does that look like for you?
That's a beautiful question. It definitely is. I start projects more in what is the benefit of this for people? What will I feel as I go through this? What will this awaken in me? What will this heal in me? What will this nurture in me? Because whatever it heals and nurtures and awakes in me, it will do that for others as well. So instead of a task to be completed, it is a journey to move through. And so when I plan my content, when I do webinars, when I do any of those things, what do I want to wake up in me? What do I want to find a new level of awareness out of struggle, out of overwhelm, out of hustle?
Mm-hmm. I decided a while ago that, high levels of success had such a huge price tag for me as far as my soul was concerned and my energy levels were concerned and all of that, like pleasure, like it just wasn't fun. It just wasn't. It was so hard all the time. And I'm like, this isn't worth it. This price tag is way too high for me. So I thought, okay, well, I need to lead. So when I lead with my feminine, for me, the feminine is about the flow. Like that's what I want to connect with. So before I would sit down and do content or do emails or whatever, and it really felt like I had to reach down my throat all the way to the depths of my soul and then rip something out of my soul and get it onto the computer screen. And it was yes. Painful. It was painful and it was heavy. And it was like, oh yeah, I've got 4 hours worth of content. Like it was terrible. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not available to that anymore. Like no more of that experience. And I thought, what I want to do is I just want to connect. I want to connect with that mass consciousness of genius, and then just just tap into that, and then just let that carry me on and carry me through. And that kind of creation process has been so much, first of all, easier for me. I'm not about working harder or smarter anymore. I'm all about working easier. What's fun, what's fast, what feels light, what feels pleasurable, what's the easiest way for me to get here? And I'm like, well, tapping into the current of genius is what's going to help me with that. But I've also found that even when I do tap into that, if I'm too much into that, it starts feeling heavy. And I'm like, oh, I think I've tapped into too much masculine. And so I need to back off for a minute. And I need to go do something else, like get my feet in the grass or like feel something. We were talking about like sensual before, like feel the sun on my face, feel the breeze, feel the grass. If I'm on the grass, like what do the blades of grass feel like under my feet? And just like getting back into my body. And that has just been so delightful. And I get so much more done in such a shorter amount of time.
Yes. And I want to bring something about that up because the current work day is actually set up for a man's cycle. You wake up, you have high levels of energy that slowly diminish throughout the day. You have a meal, they'll peak again, and then they slowly diminish. You go to bed, you wake up the next morning, and your energy levels start all over. That is a man's cycle. It's because of the testosterone levels in their body. Women do not cycle daily, they cycle monthly. You will have weeks where you're like, let's get this done. And everything is all about, let's hurry and get this done. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, I just want to rest. I want to connect. I want to slow down. You're not lazy. You're cycling. Men cycle daily, women cycle monthly. And there are weeks where you can conquer the world. And a couple weeks later, there are days when you need to just get into nature, have those deep conversations, connect, detoxify, release. If women go into flow for a reason and you're not crazy and you're not lazy, you're cycling. And there are times that you will feel full of energy, like creation and arousal are easy. And there are times where you'll be like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. I want to sit here and just recover and detoxify and reevaluate. Men do that on a daily basis. Women do it on a monthly basis. Emotionally, physically, spiritually. We're not men. We have to stop acting like them.
You know, I took a class back in college. I think it was like a dating and marriage class, if I'm quite honest. I can't imagine it being taught in any other class. But the one thing I remember about that class was he said, men and women are different in every cell of their bodies. And I was like, and then he said, being one does not mean being the same. Like, that's the only two things that I remember. But I was like, I think he might be right. I think I might be wired completely differently from my spouse or from men. And that's okay. Like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yes, because their awareness is to keep us safe and protected. Because when we feel safe and protected, we nurture our clients, we nurture our business, we nurture our bodies, we nurture our families. And it's not a struggle. When we're stuck in that struggle, we're trying to protect at the same time as we're trying to nurture, which comes out like this: just eat your food.
Oh, that's what that is?
When women go into masculine, they also go into scarcity. Can I give an example of this?
Yes, please do.
So if you are, I'm going to just use creating a meal. When a woman creates a meal or for her family in masculine energy, because she has to be in protective and providing energy, she makes the meal and then says, I provided this for you, now eat it. If she's in feminine energy, she says, she's in nurture and nourish. So she says, I created this meal for you that will nurture you and nourish you. But my main point is for us to sit and connect together. So if you don't like what I created, go get yourself some yogurt. Like, she doesn't, she's like, I have all this I've created for you, and there's more in the fridge. If a man creates a meal in feminine energy and he's in that nurture and that nourish, he's like, this is draining me. Just hurry and eat your food. I only have this much for you to eat. But if he's in masculine energy, then he goes, look how much I can provide for you. I provided this whole meal and everything in the fridge. When men are in masculine, they go into abundance and prosperity. When women are in feminine, they go into abundance and prosperity. And when it's reversed, they go into lack and scarcity.
Wow.
And they chase clients.
Wow.
And they chase clients. They don't nurture clients. They chase them because they need to provide for their business.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need to nurture your business. You need to nurture your clients.
So what about the woman who's like, yeah, but I also need clients to be able to nurture, or, you know, even if you're not a female entrepreneur, but you know, you're looking for the promotion, or you're looking for, you know, a different kind of job where it's a higher pay and, you know, greater, you know, opportunities to grow and all of that. Like what happens when like people are like, but I do need skills and I do need, you know, clients and all of those things?
So it's the protect is the masculine form of nurture in the feminine. So the provide is the masculine form of nourish in the feminine. So you can provide for your clients. You can provide more content. You can provide more skills for your employer. You can provide more opportunities for people, and they will feel you pushing them. Or you can nourish people into seeing the benefits of working with you. And you can nurture people into building a relationship that they can't get enough of you. And you can allow people to see that your intuition will benefit them and they will invite you into those higher positions because it just feels right. So is this the same advice I would give to a man? No, I still wouldn't tell them to get into hustle, but they need to show how they can provide and protect. Women need to show how they can nurture and nourish and allow that. It really is the allow, because I have had promotions not because of my feminine wiles and doing inappropriate things, but because I was inviting at that next level. I was nurturing clients at that next level, even before they were ready for that next level. Mm-hmm. They were being nurtured at the higher level. They moved to the higher level. I wasn't protecting them from the higher level. I was nurturing them into it.
Oh, man. Oh, Laurel, I love this conversation so much. And we're going to go over just a couple of minutes because what's been coming in my mind so much is the sacred sacral. And somebody needs to hear that. So we're just going to follow it and let this be a little bit longer of an episode. But will you talk into that for a minute?
Absolutely. That's probably one of my most favorite things. And Allyson mentioned before that words like passion and arousal and desire are trigger words because we automatically think of them as sexual. But your sacral chakra, that sacred energy, is about creation. It's about the perfect balance of masculine and feminine. And here is the big gut punch. You need to get very aware and very accepting of sexual energy, because we all come from sex. When you have shame or guilt or fear around it, you have guilt or shame or fear around your own existence. Your sacral creative power is it's the battery that charges all of us. So even if you are not in an intimate relationship, tap into that creation energy, that beautiful combination that is the battery for every part of our life. It's the part that makes us feel awake, the part that makes us feel alive. And when you're using your head is heartless. I don't know why we use our head to make decisions. Your head does not have a heart. Your body does. Make decisions with your heart. Make decisions with your sacral, because those are the decisions that will guide you to create an amazing life and lifestyle instead of just be alive. That's what happens in your sacral.
Can you give us an example of what that might look like?
So I will purchase things, not with my head, but with my body. I will make business decisions, not with my head, but with my body. And what that would look like when I'm putting content together, it's not about how much information can I cram down their throat. What part of this will create something better for them, for me. Mm-hmm. It's about creating that order and that nurturing people to actually feel like they are safe to be sensual, because sensual energy is literally feminine energy. That seductive energy is what pulls and invites. The universe is trying to seduce us all the time. If the universe wasn't trying to give us goodness, to give us pleasure, to help us be awake and alive, we'd have a tree. We wouldn't have beautiful beaches. We wouldn't have snow-capped mountains. Everything would look the same. There would be no variety. The universe is trying to teach us how to embrace that seductive energy, that attraction energy. People who are obsessed with the law of attraction but won't tap into their sacral, that's why it's not working. You can't attract if you can't first seduce. Nurture them. Wake them up. But if you're numb, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And seduction doesn't have to have anything to do with sex or morality or any of that. I'll tell you what, Maui and the Hawaiian Islands seduce me all the time. They're always calling me, that like they're pulling me all the time. They pull me to them. If that's not seduction energy, then like to me, that is the crowning seduction energy of an island. And it's a thing, people. It's a thing. I keep having to go back. Because it just keeps pulling me.
So a really hard tactical example of this. Anyone who's ever met with a business coach and they have said, tell me about your perfect client avatar. And you have put all this effort and energy into being like, they have to be this and this and this and this and this. Like that client is the prize versus saying, I want to attract this, and this type person. So I will embody this, and this type of lifestyle. I'm inviting those perfect people to me instead of searching for those perfect clients. I'm inviting them. I am my brand. You are your brand, not your product, not your tagline, not your perfect avatar. When you embody the people that you want to help, you invite them and they come. But if you create them and then you chase them, you get exhausted. Is that an okay example? Does that make sense?
It feels so much lighter and so much more fun to do it that other way in feminine energy than creating and then chasing. And where are they? I've got to find them. Where are they? Where are they? So, well, speaking of like being a product of your product and being your brand, first of all, thank you. This has been an amazing conversation. And I know that people are going to want more. And actually, we're going to give you all more because Laurel and I have created a 2-hour or a 90-minute masterclass for you if you're interested in it. It's completely free. It's called Create a Life of Prosperity, the Power of Leading with the Feminine. And we're going to spend 90 minutes talking about how you can create with pleasure and downtime without any guilt or shame, what it looks like to feel safe in surrender and vulnerability, because we have lots of misconceptions about what both of those are. Practical strategies to let go of struggle and hustle and push, because guess what? Like it's a creation energy. Feminine is not just like lying there and receiving all the time. There are some strategies to put in play that will allow you to then receive without having to chase and without, the struggle and the hustle and the pushing. And then the spiritual and the feminine side of a wealthy lifestyle. So if those are things that you would like to embody and you would like to experience, make sure that you click the link below. We've included them in the show notes. 90-minute class, completely free. We're going to do this live and we're going to teach both together because this is a conversation that's worth going so much deeper. And I know Laurel has felt this. I have felt this as well, but there is a great awakening that's going on in the planet. There is a lot of shifting that's going on. And it really feels like feminine energy is like really claiming its own and really taking the lead, which is how it's meant to be. And so where do we fit in all of that? And that's what we want to talk about in this masterclass. So come join us. Make sure that you click that link below. It's in the show notes. And Laurel, I know people are going to want to connect with you. So where can they find you?
The most interactive place to find me is actually on Facebook. I have a month or a weekly class that I teach in there for free called Body Mapping with Laurel. Not hard to find. We talk about feminine energy and all sorts of other things. So please follow me on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel and you can find me on Facebook, any of those places.
Awesome. And we'll put all of those links in the show notes as well for all of you to connect with her as well. So Laurel, it's always a pleasure. It's always a delight. It's so pleasurable being here with you. So thank you so much. And to all of you listening in and watching this, thanks so much for being here. And we will see you next time. And until then, remember, prosperity becomes you.